for, Sally, is name one thing I can do to make our marriage work. And he would just shrug his shoulders for almost a year. I would cry and I begged him to tell me one thing.
So you cheated on him with his cousin.
Yes.
Explain, if you can, why you did that.
I'm not sure exactly why, Sally. I was attracted to him, and I should have left my husband first, and I didn't. And.
All right, now you said you're confused.
Yeah.
What do you want? You got a 2.5-year marriage here. Are you still attracted to the cousin?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Hey guys, you can't blame somebody for being honest, you know? You can't yell at them for being honest.
I did go to him, Sally, and I told him that I was in love with Buddy. I told him I cheated on him.
Are you in love with Buddy?
Yes, I am.
Are you now in love with Buddy?
Yes, I am.
Are you in love with your husband?
I love you, Paul, but no one's in love with me.
When you say, I love Paul.
I love Paul because he's been a good friend to me and he's been there. And I asked him for a long time to come back, and then it was too late.
Okay.
And
you are not in love with him.
No, I'm not in love with him.
You just love him because?
Because he's been my friend. And I feel bad that I let him down.
Buddy, come on now. What did you ask her? What did you ask her, Paul? What did you ask her?
I just asked if there's any chance for us. I still love her with all my heart.
Okay. Laurie, he loves you with all his heart. Is there any chance?
I want us to get help, Laurie.
Oh, when I wanted to get help, you didn't want to get help.
It wasn't I didn't want to, Laurie. I didn't know how. I told you I didn't know how.
I don't know how now. I'm in love with someone else. I'm sorry. Sorry doesn't do anything, I know.
I wouldn't want cousins like that.
Buddy, somebody in the audience just said, I wouldn't want cousins like that. Do you understand how people...
Yes, I do.
Okay. This is Robert's second marriage. He was married for 16 years. That marriage ended. Robert said, that's it. I'll never love again. And then he met and fell in love with Audra. The new one-year marriage is in trouble. It wasn't because they were living with the in-laws, which once again we think is the world's worst idea, but there are some things you can't control. 2 weeks after you got married, what happened?
Sally, she had an affair.
With your cousin?
Yes.
Okay. Now, with the cousin, what was going on with Audra at this time? Your marriage broke up, and you were sick.
Yes.
As I said, there's some things you can control if you live with the in-laws. You can't control. You had a stroke?
Yes, ma'am.
With heart and lung problems?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you on dialysis?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This is a sick man. While you met her, she knew you were sick.
That's correct.
Okay. Your focus was on trying to stay alive.
That's the way I saw it.
Okay. How did you find out that she was really having an affair with the cousin?
I saw it in her eyes before it was ever brought to my attention.
You saw she was cheating?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. When it happened, did you confront, when you saw it in her eyes, did you confront Audra about the affair?
Yes.
What did she say?
At first, we discussed the fact that she wanted to leave. She wanted to go be with the boyfriend. Okay.
So this gentleman, Robert, put up no trespassing signs in front of the house and changed the lock. Here's where we stand now. She wants to save the marriage. This is the opposite. Okay, but just as Laurie does not want to save the marriage, this wife wants to save. Can we bring out Audrey? Sure. Have Audrey come on. Audrey, you were married for a year and a half.
Yes, ma'am.
When you cheated, it was only 2 weeks after you were married?
Yes, it was only 2 weeks after we got married.
Why'd you wait?
Married to her husband, Daniel, for 8 months. These marriages are getting shorter and shorter and more complicated. She has 2 kids from a previous marriage, 2 and 7. He's adopted the 2 children. And as with the other couples, they are already on the verge of divorce. She was in love with him because he couldn't wait to adopt her children. And there aren't a lot of men who are just so excited about having, you know, children like that already made. She wanted, they wanted a big wedding, but they couldn't afford it. So the money went to the adoption, which, by the way, is more important. She picked out a pretty wedding dress. You couldn't afford it. You never had a honeymoon. But he did adopt the children, and that day everything changed. 1 month in, she's getting phone calls from women who want to speak to Daniel. And what did they say?
I started getting phone calls in the middle of the night. People would just ask to talk to him. I kept asking him who they were. Sally, he just kept saying they were friends. And my question to him was, well, Sally, if there's friends, I should know them too, and there wasn't a problem with them talking to me. Then it got to the point they started hanging up on the phone calls. Whenever I would answer the phone, they would hang up. They wouldn't even ask for him.
You confronted one of the girls, and what did she say to you?
She said, well, you may not know who I am, but you're gonna know who I am.
You sent your husband out to a pharmacy to pick up some medicine for the baby?
Yes, the day that we came home out of court for the adoption, we also picked the baby up from the hospital. She had been ill. He went to town to get her prescriptions filled in what should have been a 45-minute trip. He was gone. He made a phone call, said the pharmacy's late. It's going to be a little bit. I know it. It should have taken him 5 minutes. So I called. Oh, yes, he'd been gone for a while. So I went to town and found him at the girl's house.
She kicked him out. Wait a minute. She kicked him out. She took him back. She loves him. He's had trouble keeping a job. He did get fired. I think it was the 4th of July, and the boss told you the reason he fired your husband was what?
He was lying to him. He had spent the night at a girl's house when I was gone out of town. Sally, I knew his boss. We'd been friends for years, and he said he couldn't be his scapegoat. He was not going to let him say he was at work and stay with this girl.
That's right. Like that boss.
You kicked him out again.
Yes, he left and kicked him off.
He is giving you what you consider. She's written a book that I think a lot of us ought to get. If you're stuck, her theory is too good to leave.
It's not a theory. Too good to leave, too bad to stay is not a theory. It's a simple
too good
yes
to
or
leave,
no
too
questions.
bad to stay. A lot of people have been in
It's just
relationships where they think that. Okay, I'm going to ask you to really get in the hot seat and to go down the line and tell us what somebody who is a relationship expert would think. Let's start with Buddy, Laurie, and Paul.
Okay, first I want to say to the audience, Sally, does this stuff break your heart? It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because these people, what they're doing with this destructive behavior, it's as if they're taking a beautiful watch and they're throwing it on the ground and smashing it. That's what destructive behavior does. It's damage. I spent 25 years of my life trying to heal this kind of damage, and I hate it.
I do too.
I'm sick
I
of
hate it.
I want it to stop. Absolutely. It will stop if people remember that love is one of the most precious, one of the most important things in life.
She's right. You're absolutely right. Get to them. Now look at the red eyes that we're dealing. And he's a great friend of the show here today. Michael, how good are these lie detector tests?
Statistics show the test to be 87 to 90% accurate in most cases. The test is run properly.
Okay, so I was incorrect about that. It's the DNA that's 99. You were helping me out here. But that's pretty darn accurate. I'll buy.
It's the best thing we've got going.
It's the best thing. Now, what'd you ask him? I mean, what'd you find out about this guy? And what's his wife going to do about it?
Well, we covered a number of different areas. When I do the test for the show, we cover not only sexual intercourse,